You're listening to an Airwave Media Podcast.
Welcome to From Beneath the Hollywood Sign. If you love old movies, Hollywood history, or the golden age of filmmaking, you've come to the right place. This is the podcast that talks about amazing stories of Tinseltown from another era and fascinating conversations with writer-producer Steve Cubine and actress-writer Nan McNamara.
So, Steve, did Ava Gardner and Howard Hughes have a good relationship?
Well, they did until he dislocated her jaw.
What?
Well, don't worry. She hit him back with an ashtray.
From Beneath the Hollywood Sign is the gin joint for you.
Recorded in Chicago, Illinois, with your hosts, Ken, Matt, Neal, and Jeff. This is Triviality. The cream of the crop!
Hey, welcome to Triviality, the show where a lack of seriousness meets a little bit of knowledge. I am Ken. I will not be hosting. We have some guests in the studio, I should say, and some over Skype. Right now, I want to introduce our normal panel. Matt, how you doing there?
I am hanging in there.
It is the day after St. Patrick's Day, and Matt's not doing so hot.
Well, I have to drink for 4, so...
That's definitely the kind of hanging you're doing.
Yeah.
He walked into the studio with a beer,
Uh-huh.
so I don't know if he's still drunk or hungover.
Let's keep
but
the party going, guys.
how you doing, Jeff and Neal?
I'm all right.
I'm doing all right. I don't feel hungover. What's that thing called? The hair of the dog? Is that what Matt's doing right now? Is that what it's called? The hair of the dog?
I don't know.
Yeah, the hair of the dog.
Is that right?
No, I don't know.
Where you're drinking to stay drunk, I guess, so you don't get hungover? I don't know.
You stave off the hangover by continuing to be drunk.
Yeah, we gave him a limitless pill, but it hasn't worked yet, so we'll see what happens.
The limit is known, actually.
It's a known quantity.
Yeah.
Well, enough of us. Let's introduce our special guest today. In the studio, we have Max Miners. How you doing, Max?
Hi, guys.
Returning for the second time.
Yeah, I've been welcomed into the dojo.
Yeah, before you were a disembodied voice. You found yourself in the Chicagoland area, so you waltzed right into our studio, and we said, sure, you can play.
And I have to say, the Swayze poster is just as majestic in person as I would have guessed.
Yeah, I apologize that my head is right under his crotch, but... well, maybe not right under.
Not from my point of view. Everything's fine from here.
And you don't apologize.
Can you just remind us a little bit about your background from last time?
Sure. I'm from Louisville, and I direct TV news. I've been in broadcasting in one form or another my entire life, and it's my favorite thing, and trivia is my second favorite thing.
And our special guest host, coming to us from Skype, is Andrew Brown. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are y'all?
Doing well. I know we learned a little bit about you last time, but why don't you refresh our memories and tell us where you're Skyping in from?
Yeah, I'm just outside of Tulsa, Oklahoma. So I'm a teacher, trivia host, et cetera, et cetera.
That et cetera, is where you make the big bucks, though.
Well, sure not from teaching.
Yeah. Andrew was on a great episode. It's a special Harry Potter bonus episode that we did with Aaron Barclay and a bunch of other great guests that is going to be coming out soon. And Andrew performed very well on that. He is a Harry Potter expert. So Expelliarmus, anyone who thinks they can beat him.
That doesn't mean anything to me.
I don't know. Is that Expelliarmus? That's the stag, right?
No.
Oh,
No, that's
the Death Eater.
the Spectro Patronum.
Oh, that's
Save it for the Harry Potter episode.
We're billboarding it.
So today we're going to be doing a 2-on-2 match. It's going to be me and Max versus Jeff and Neal. So since Max's normal team name is the Gina Davis All-Stars, we're going to be the Maitlands from Beetlejuice.
Yeah, and Max inspired us to have a team name that is also from Beetlejuice, and we're going to be, Jeff?
The Jupiter Sandworms.
So it's the all Beetlejuice hour. Actually, I have a story about Beetlejuice really quick.
You just said it 3 times, Neal.
There's no more room in the studio for him, though.
So when I was a kid, I watched a lot of like crazy movies and stuff. And I never swore anything or did anything bad because I knew everything was fake. Makeup was fake, blood, all that kind of stuff. And I saw Beetlejuice, one of my favorite movies, and I was on a walk with my dad to the corner. And if you remember in Beetlejuice, there's a scene where he's small and he like kicks a tree. And so we were walking, and I saw a bush, and I kicked it. And I went, bush. and my dad's like, where did you learn that? I was like, it's Beetlejuice. And so he just said, yeah.
But did you follow it up with a crotch honk?
I might have. Yeah. I might have, yeah. I should have, if not.
You're a precocious 5-year-old.
Yes, exactly.
All right, without further ado, we're going to try a little something new and have our rules introduced by the disembodied voice of Darren, our voiceover guy.
The rules of the game are simple. 20 questions split into 2 rounds worth 10 points apiece. At halftime, there'll be a special swing round designed by this week's host. After regulation, players will enter the final round with the points that they've accumulated and will have a chance to wager 0 to 30 points on 5 categorized questions. At the end of the game, someone will be named the cream of the crop.
But the cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
Cool. All right, guys, everybody ready to get going?
Woo! Yeah, I'm good. Let's do it.
All right, take it away.
All right, round 1, question 1. What Lord of the Rings alum voices Spyro the Dragon in The Legend of Spyro?
That's fine. What do you want to go with?
I just don't think he would do it.
No, I don't think so either.
So maybe him or him?
Yeah.
All right, you pick out of those two then.
You flip a coin. You hate Lord of the Rings, so.
Just do him.
Okay.
Okay, we're in.
Okay.
So, the Spyro franchise has been around forever. The first one was on PlayStation in the mid-90s. And I definitely don't think it's going to be an older person.
Right, Spyro's kind of a cuter purple dragon,
he's like a
right?
cute, yeah.
So we're immediately thinking the Hobbits. I want to kind of eliminate Billy Boyd and Dom Monaghan because they naturally have accents, and I don't think that Spyro would be like British or New Zealander.
Yeah, I agree.
Sean Astin has kind of a deeper voice, so I don't think it's him. So I kind of want to go with Elijah Wood.
Elijah Wood does seem the most likely to be able to do if I'm going to cast a cartoon dragon.
Right. All right, We'll go with Elijah Wood.
We locked in with Elijah Wood.
And the answer is Elijah Wood.
Well, we could eliminate Christopher Lee right away because it was a recent game and he's dead. So.
Ken's just salty because he's 0 for 2 against me and Jeff.
All right, question 2. It's going to be a little bit of math for you guys. All right. The number of movies that Jennifer Grey and Patrick Swayze were in together, plus the number of books in the Ender's Game main book series.
Ooh. I don't know. Safe-ish guess. You want to go like 6?
I'm okay to go 2. I really don't know.
I was thinking because I think Ender's Game. I think there are 3 or 4 of them. If I'm thinking of the correct series.
Yeah, let's go 6.
Okay.
So I think pretty quickly Neal identified that there are 2 movies in which they co-star.
If I'm forgetting one, I might be forgetting one, but it's Red Dawn and Dirty Dancing.
Okay.
They're both Wolverines. So
and the book series, if I'm being honest, I think there's quite a few.
There's more than it's more than a trilogy.
My gut says it's at least 4.
At least. Okay. So
I was thinking maybe 5 because I remember hearing once that there were quite a few books in that series. If I'm thinking of the right series, so I would be safe to go probably 4.
Okay. So we're either going to go 6 or 7 unless if you think this wouldn't be 5, right? It could be.
No, I feel like the Ender's Game series had quite a few more books than I was thinking it would. So I mean, I thought I had 1.
All right. So let's go 6 or 7 then.
Yeah, let's go 6.
Okay.
All right. The answer is actually 7. Jennifer Grey and Patrick Swayze did star in both Red Dawn and Dirty Dancing. So those 2 there. And then there's 5 in the main Ender's Game series.
I knew there were a lot. I knew there was more than 3. But.
Man.
That's one of my favorite book series. Question 3. A puggle is the name for what baby monotreme?
Falling down on the science here.
We're in.
Okay, they're in?
Yeah.
So I don't know what that last word means. I'm just guessing it's what 2 species make up the breed of dog that's a puggle.
No, a monotreme is it's one of something, but I can't remember what it's one of.
So he's not looking for pug and not doodle. What's the word I'm looking for?
Muggle.
The French poodle. A poodle, not a pug and a poodle.
No, I don't think so.
Okay,
but I have no better idea, so that's fine.
You just want to? I don't know what monotreme is.
I can't remember offhand.
Do you just want to say pug and poodle?
Sure.
Okay, so we're gonna lock in with pug and poodle.
I just had this stored in the back of my brain somewhere, and I could be wrong, but I think it's a platypus.
Well, a platypus is a monotreme, but it's not the monotreme I'm looking for. It's the other one.
The
It's
echidna.
Yeah, it's the echidna. A monotreme is actually a mammal that lays eggs, as opposed to giving a live birth. All right, question 4. What movie features the following actors? Matt Damon, Fred Armisen, and Lucy Lawless.
Ooh. I think that's it.
Okay.
I think they're cameos, both of them. But
we're locked in then.
I think. I mean, I think that's right.
Okay, yes, I co-sign your answer then.
Did you write Encino Man?
Encino
we're
Man.
in for sure.
You're in for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so initially I was thinking maybe it's just like a random movie like Stuck on You with Greg Kinnear, the Farrelly Brothers movie where they're attached to the hip, and you saw a cameo from Housing Development Secretary Ben Carson. But I was thinking, like, what movies would Fred Armisen be in? And I was like, well, he had a really good cameo as a guy who gets way too close to people on a train in the movie Euro Trip, where Matt Damon played the boyfriend that Kristen Crook cheated on the main character with. So
Scotty doesn't know.
Scotty doesn't know. So we locked in with Euro Trip.
And we locked in with the same, kind of unable to place Lucy Lawless's cameo, but I'm pretty sure it's in there somewhere.
Mi scusi.
That's it. Yeah, Miss Scusi.
Well, the answer is Euro Trip. Lucy Lawless was the owner of the brothel when they went to the Netherlands.
That's right.
It's an underappreciated gem.
I used to
really like that
love
movie.
watching that in college, and yeah, it is very underrated because my favorite part of that whole movie is they go to that really sort of destroyed area of Eastern Europe, and he goes, "You American?" And they're like, "Yeah," and he goes, "Miami Wise, #1 TV show." So that's my favorite scene.
That movie is way funnier than it has any business being whatsoever.
It is, yeah, you're right.
It's a pretty fantastic movie. All right, question 5. Ernest Hemingway isn't the name most think of when discussing sports literature. What sport was Hemingway's Death in the Afternoon about?
You guys are in?
It's not an actual sport.
Oh, no, you're just thinking. Sorry, take your time.
No, I think we can lock in. I'm going to go and lock in.
Okay, so they're locked in.
I'm totally fine with that.
Well, okay, so out loud, I know there's an Ernest Hemingway book about bullfighting, but I feel like that's the one. It's definitely a different title than Death in the Afternoon.
I mean, it is Death in the Afternoon, Neil.
Okay,
It
I know,
sounds like a reasonable guess.
I know he wrote a book about bullfighting, so you just want to go with that?
That sounds like two reasonable things to base an assumption on.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, I'm not normally right with literature, but we're going to lock in with bullfighting over here.
We're going with boxing on our end.
The correct answer is bullfighting.
Wow. All right, after question 5, we have 30 for Jupiter Sandworms and 20 for the Maitlands.
Great.
Close game.
Yeah, great game so far, Andrew. Thank you.
Question 6. What mythical flying creature is one of the national animals of Greece?
Ooh. We were just talking with Max beforehand about our weakness in mythology.
Yep.
Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds right. Yeah, I'd be good with that.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're locked in.
Yeah, I mean, you basically only have a couple of options. You're locked in?
Yeah, we're locked
we're
in.
locked in.
Feel free to talk it up.
Yeah, you basically only have a couple of options when it comes to like majorly well-known mythical creatures that fly. You've got a griffin, for example, but I like your answer, which you wrote down.
We're going to go Pegasus.
We went with the winged horse Pegasus.
Unfortunately, the correct answer is the phoenix.
Ooh.
No one was thinking Phoenix.
That's pretty great.
That's a great fact to remember. Wow. Phoenix. Yeah. Any background on that or just the Phoenix?
I think it has something to do with like they have like country motto and it's something about like rebirth or something.
Oh, makes sense. Okay.
Hopefully we can rise from the ashes of this question.
I hope so.
All right. Question 7 is going to be a musical before and after.
Mm-hmm.
They're combined in 2 songs. If Boyz II Men and Meatloaf collaborated about a sexual encounter lasting the entirety of the twilight hours while speechless on a beach.
I think we're in with a guess, right?
Yeah, we're gonna go on and lock in with a we'll say a very well educated guess.
That's kind of where we're at.
Okay, yeah, we locked in with. We're not sure if we have the title of one of the songs right, but we're locked in as well.
You want me to give this one? Okay, so we definitely had the Meatloaf song "Paradise by the Dashboard Light," because your clue about the beach led us there. So we were thinking, and then we noticed that you were very carefully phrasing to not say "all night long" or something like that, but "through the twilight hours." So we guessed that perhaps Boyz II Men might have had a track called "All Night Paradise." So we said "All Night Paradise by the Dashboard Light." That's our guess.
Yeah, that sounds correct. We immediately latched on to "I'll Make Love to You," and we tried to make it fit by cutting off the "to you." So we just put "I'll Make Love" by the Dashboard Light.
Okay. Well, "I'll Make Love to You" was the Boyz II Men song.
Oh.
But the Meatloaf song was "You Took the Words Right Out of My Mouth."
Oh,
so
you took the words.
"I'll
right
Make
out
Love
of...
to You" took the words right out of my mouth.
Ah.
Yeah, that's a great album.
So story about that song. So it opens with Meatloaf and the person, talking back and forth, would you offer your throat to the Wolf the Red Roses? I love you, that sort of thing. That's actually what I proposed to my wife with. We were at a concert, and I asked her, would you offer your throat with the Wolf the Red Roses?
Ooh.
Aww. So that's kind of, she loves Meatloaf and whatnot. So it was at an AC/DC Aerosmith concert too.
Wow.
That's so awesome.
That's pretty sweet. Now, that's from Bat Out of Hell, right?
Is that from Bat Out of Hell? Yes.
Yeah, that's a great album.
That's
his phone friend. Meatloaf than I am.
My girlfriend's all-time favorite is Morrissey, so that would be a bit of a harder stunt for me to pull off.
Yeah, she would tell you to stop, please, please.
All right, question 8. Adjusted for inflation, what is the highest grossing live-action, non-Disney musical movie of all time? There are worse movies you could see.
Okay, that sounds right.
All right, we're in.
I have seen that. It's just been a long time, but that sounds
There wasn't
plausible.
like a huge
Let's go with that.
like Singing in the Rain or.
Well, Singing in the Rain is great. So Jeff and I wrote down immediately one of the highest grossing musicals of all time is Sound of Music. It's overpassed like $1 billion or something like that. It still plays live a lot of places. They do a lot of live screenings. So if it's made over a couple billion, adjusted for inflation, that could be a pretty high purse. Any other ideas that you have, Jeff?
No, the only thing I was trying to think for sure was this for sure not a Disney movie? Because I know Disney had a lot of involvement with stuff.
I think Sound of Music is MGM.
Okay, I would say
or Paramount. No, maybe Paramount.
Could be. I mean, there was because they did Mary Poppins back in the day. Then that would have been quite popular. That was a Disney film.
That was a Disney film.
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang was theirs.
Yep.
So
I think what we should do is any answer that we had, we replace it with Christopher Plummer, and we go Sound of Music. Do you want to just go for it?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Because I can't think of anything else at the moment. So we're going to lock in with Sound of Music on Team Jupiter Sandworms.
So after a little bit of consideration for that hint, I think I finally picked up on it. And you said there are worse films you could see, and I equated that to the song "There Are Worse Things I Could Do" from Grease. So I think I'm going to go with Grease.
And the correct answer is Grease.
Yay.
I didn't even think about that clue. Yeah, that's like my favorite movie musical too. Man, my mom's going to be pissed.
Oh, jeez, come on.
Oh, come on, guys. Come on. Sandy, please.
Responsible for by far the most obnoxious karaoke song.
Oh, yes. Summer Lovin'?
Yeah, that has got to be banned in every karaoke bar.
No.
That one and
it's the worst.
I think it's a blast.
All right, question 9. What 11-time NBA All-Star who spent most of his career with the New York Knicks was nicknamed the Hoya Destroyer? He may have flown in Star Wars too.
Yeah, I'll write
Star
down
Wars
some
pilots.
Star Wars
You good?
pilots, and you can write down some basketball players, and we'll see what happens.
Oh.
The only reason I'm saying this is because if you take this out.
Yeah, I'm aware of what you're getting at.
Yeah. Plus, I know the college that he went to, and it would make sense with his question.
How would it make sense with the question?
Because their mascot is what's in the.
Oh, yeah.
Painful to listen to.
I got it right away.
I was being dumb.
Pain don't hurt, so I'm good.
We're in. We're locked in.
Us too? Yeah.
Yeah. So we were just. I think we were both kind of writing down Star Wars pilots, and I was trying to come up with any NBA player that matched. And we had gone through Finn and Poe and Biggs and Wedge, and then I paused for a moment and went, "Wait a minute! I'm leaving out my absolute favorite character from this newest one, Rose." And I believe there is a very, very solid NBA player named Derrick Rose, so we're going to go with Rose.
He hasn't been very solid.
Formerly solid, whatever.
His knee is definitely solid.
His knees are not solid, yeah.
Either way.
I don't sports. I Star Wars more than I sports, but I know the name Derrick Rose associated with basketball, so...
That's most of us, yeah. So with Jeff, when he said Hoya Destroyer, I was thinking of Georgetown, which Patrick Ewing went to, and I thought of the name Ewing, like X-Wing.
Or Ewing.
Or Ewing, I guess. So we went with Patrick Ewing.
The correct answer is Patrick Ewing.
Yeah.
And the thing is, he was in Space Jam, right?
He was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a picture of him in my head like the entire time. I was like, "What's that guy's name?" And I couldn't come up with it.
And usually, Ewing is that a ship in Star Wars?
Well, it sounds like it would be. That's why I said he may have flown in Star Wars.
E-wing.
Yeah, I was gonna say I remember the A-wing and the B-wing and the X-wing and the Y-wing, obviously.
There had to be wings in between.
The U-wing would fly okay.
Yeah. Not toward the end of its career though. It probably.
It's a triple gunner.
End up in Canada for a season and not do so well. Tough.
All right, and the last question of the round. What country's flag features the Union Jack in the upper left on a field of blue? In the bottom right of the flag is a coat of arms featuring a British lion holding a cocoa pod, as well as panels that display a palm tree, sugarcane, bananas, and a dove of peace.
That sounds like a flag I would create when I was 10, to be honest.
Do you know this one, Jeff?
Not off the top of my head, but we can talk it out in a minute.
Okay.
I'll have some regrets if...
That's okay. We're making this bad decision together.
Let's go with it.
Yeah, okay. Let's go with that. We're going to lock in.
Okay. So what are you thinking, Jeff?
So I've definitely seen the flag in question. Thinking of blue flags with Union Jacks in the top left, you're often drawn to Australia, which has a constellation on it. I can't remember which one.
Does New Zealand have that?
New Zealand also does. Yeah, New Zealand has red stars, the Southern Cross, if I'm not mistaken. Those are a darker blue. I'm pretty sure this flag is like a lighter blue than those two. And I'm thinking it's definitely an island or an island chain.
Right, because you said
most likely in the South Pacific.
What palm trees, sugar cane, and something else.
Right. Things that come to mind as far as former British territories that were islands. The British Virgin Islands may have a flag like that. But I'm thinking it's South Pacific, and I'm trying to think of what the nation might be. I'm pretty sure it's a different flag than the one he described, but we'll go British Virgin Islands.
Okay, so British Virgin Islands, final answer over here.
Initially, I had written down New Zealand, but we felt that was too simple of a flag.
Yeah, I agreed that it had to be in that region, though, similar to what you guys were thinking. So I wrote down some that I thought, like you said, Jeff, might have been former colonies. I wrote down Tuvalu, and I wrote Fiji, and we ended up going with Tonga.
Ooh.
Okay. The correct answer is actually Fiji.
Oh. As soon as you said Fiji, I went.
You should. If you would have said there was a nice bottle of water on the flag.
That wouldn't have been a hint then. That would have been the answer.
It's the island of Dasani.
So what's our score update here?
All right. So at the conclusion of the first round, we have the Jupiter Sandworms with 40 and the Maitlands with 30.
Ooh, tough game here, Andrew. Well written game.
For your swing round today, I'm going to give you presidential nicknames, 10 of them, and you'll have to name the president for 5 points apiece. Are we ready?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right. Number 1 is Old Sink or Swim. Number 2 is Last of the Cocked Hats. Number 3 is Shrub. Number 4 is Coiner of Weasel Words. Number 5 is Grandfather's Hat. Number 6 is Dude President.
Yeah.
Number 7 is Sir Veto. Number 8 is Purse. Number 9 is Machiavellian Belshazzar. And 10 is Old Man Eloquent.
Wow.
Wow is right. What else can you say except wow?
I was ready too. I was like, oh, cool. Old Hickory, Old Kinderhook.
Old
I was
Fuss
like,
and Feathers.
Yeah, I was like, I got these.
A lot of them are old.
Yeah.
To remind those listening at home, I am a history teacher.
So we're just going to take a moment here to talk amongst ourselves, and we'll come back with our logic.
Some of these you kind of want to go based on, like, you know, their deeds and who they are, and then sometimes you think these names maybe come from their political opponents, and maybe they're meant in a sarcastic way, so that's where it got really difficult.
Yeah, we weren't sure if these were their actual nicknames, because we wrote a couple of names. We're pretty sure that's not their nickname, but as Ken said, we thought maybe someone kind of slung some mean words at them, and that was what they called them. So I guess you want to just start with, you kind of do a little recap, Andrew, per question, then we'll each give our answer.
Okay. So number 1 was Old Sink or Swim.
So I think I heard some chatter on the other side of the room about going with like a Navy man. We kind of had that idea too, and picked an old guy and went with William Henry Harrison, short though his stay was.
Okay.
We went with somebody who wasn't in the Navy necessarily, but was a 5-star general. Somebody who I could definitely see having the attitude of sink or swim, and we went Eisenhower.
Okay. Well, the correct answer was no one that had to do with the Navy. but it was John Adams.
Oh, okay. Mr. Paul Giamatti.
Could he not swim, or what was that about?
I just think his whole policy for stuff was like we're gonna either survive on our own or we're gonna die together. Basically.
That makes sense.
Much like Andrew's teaching style with his students. Sink or swim.
Yeah, after we fail each one of these, you can give us a little recap on why that nickname was given. That'd be great.
I don't know. I'll know it on all of them.
Yeah, whatever ones you have, throw it out there.
All right. Number 2 was Last of the Cocked Hats.
My logic on this one was we went with somebody who was kind of known for being slack-jawed in his way of speaking, if you will. So we went with LBJ.
Yeah, we were just trying to think of the last president who may have wore one of those three-pointed hats. So we went Thomas Jefferson.
Okay, well, it was based on the type of actual hat, but actually the last person to wear it in presidency was James Monroe.
Ooh.
Wow.
One off.
Wow. I wrote Monroe earlier and then crossed it out thinking, no, it didn't go that late.
It was literally about a hat.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I told Jeff all I could get in my head was that meme of the guy on the painting who has like his fingers outstretched and he's like, hey.
Dude, I totally thought of that guy too.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is or who he is.
Hilarious.
But that's all I could think about.
Right.
Darn.
Number 3 is Shrub.
Heard this one thrown around a lot in high school. If it's the guy that I'm thinking of, we went with George W. Bush.
Ooh.
That would make sense. We went with somebody who looks like a shrub. Martin Van Buren.
Oh, shots fired.
It is George W. Bush.
There will be points in this round. Good job.
All right. 4, Coiner of Weasel Words.
So I went with somebody who was great at words generally, although it wasn't very public. We went Warren G. Harding.
That's right. He was a newspaper publisher, wasn't he?
And a prolific letter writer. Look that up, guys. The Warren G. Harding letters.
Are those the ones to the...
Yes, to his mistress.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to know a little too much about presidential penises.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Very stormy.
The LBJ tapes are pretty good for that, too.
Anyways, yeah,
those audio recordings are great.
His are more about his nuts, but...
So
I can't believe a president would talk like that.
Well, you got to make sure he's got enough crotch room in
That's
the pants.
right.
Anyways, we went on this one somebody who is very eloquent, but maybe the political opponents who opposed the things he was saying didn't appreciate it, so we went with Lincoln.
It is someone who's good with words, but it was Woodrow Wilson.
Ooh.
Woody.
Okay.
PhD.
Please don't say Woody right now after we've been talking about penises that much.
Are we 0 for...
Yes, you are
0
over
for 4.
Okay.
Low Warren G.
Number 5 is Grandfather's Hat.
Logic here for me was somebody who was known for kind of being old-fashioned and stiff, as a grandfather's hat might be, I guess. So we went with Calvin Coolidge.
That would make a lot of sense. We went, again, on the hat. Who famously wore a hat. Grandfather clocks are tall. We went tall hat, Abe Lincoln.
Well, this is actually Benjamin Harrison, the only grandson president.
Oh.
Of course.
That makes sense. If I thought about it that way.
Number 6, Dude President.
Well, who's kind of a cool dude? We were thinking it's probably Clinton.
Exact same logic over here. We also said Clinton.
Well, this would be the first cool dude president, and that was Chester Arthur.
Oh.
Chester Arthur.
Yeah, was a cool dude.
known for his cool dudeness. Yeah.
This might be our first swing around with 0 points.
In all
There's
fairness,
not a lot of swinging in
I
this.
do think Chester Arthur is the only president directly referenced in a Die Hard film, so he's got that going for him.
That's true. That does make him pretty cool.
Sorry
Number
to ruin
7?
the giant plot point of Die Hard 3 if you haven't seen it.
Number 7 is Sir Vito.
Okay, so the logic here is, I think we would agree with the other team. It was somebody who basically vetoed everything that came across their desk. I was trying to remember specifically who that was. I feel like Andrew Johnson held up a lot during the Reconstruction era, basically vetoing everything. I know that he almost got ousted from office, famously missing by only 1 vote. So we said Andrew Johnson.
Logic here was just a guy who would have had more time to veto more stuff, so we said FDR.
The answer is Andrew Johnson.
Ooh, nice, Jeff. Yeah, because I was immediately going, it's Vito Corleone.
Yeah. FDR famously did a lot of stuff to get around that. He was quite popular. He packed the court. I mean, he was able to push through a lot of legislation. I don't think he had to veto very much. But Andrew Johnson, I definitely remember him like basically stalling the government completely because he was afraid of people breaking out and fighting again.
Was that Lincoln's running mate?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, of a different political party.
I got something right.
All right. 8 is purse.
We went the irony route on this one and went with a guy who was famously not great with economics because he sunk us into the Great Depression, so we said Hoover.
Yeah, we thought this could go one of two ways. Andrew Jackson famously paid off the national debt, so he was pretty tight with the purse strings. Thought it could be that, but we figured it was probably more the ironic take, and we went Herbert Hoover.
This is actually someone who was a very wealthy president at the time. It was actually Franklin Pierce.
Oh,
we're learning a lot.
Pierce.
oh,
That's what
Gotcha.
oh, that's good.
I'm not going to learn anything. Prove it.
You will not remember this tomorrow.
Number 9, Machiavellian Belshazzar.
Sounds like a cool MMA name.
So if you're talking about somebody who's Machiavellian, basically willing to do whatever it takes, and the presumption I think is pretty cutthroat here. This president was reviled. He was absolutely hated by a lot of his cohorts for shaking things up. And we went Andrew Jackson. A lot of people thought that he was basically going to burn the country to the ground. So
We went with a guy who isn't very popular either. We said Trump.
Well, this is one that's very familiar because it was on the Game of Death episode I was on. It's old Kinderhook himself, Van Buren.
The follow-up to Andrew Jackson.
And then number 10 is Old Man Eloquent.
We just went with an old man here with a way of speaking and went with Eisenhower.
Ronald Reagan had a good film presence. He was definitely an old man.
Win one for the Gipper.
We thought maybe this was the ironic take, though, and we went Trump.
All right. Well, I started the round with John Adams, and I ended it with John Quincy Adams.
Old Anthony Hopkins coming to bite us in the ass again.
So big 5 for both teams.
Yeah. After a rousing swing round, we have the scores at 45 to 35. Jupiter Sandworms in the lead.
All right, so after that calamity, let's talk to Max a little bit about his podcast.
This is odd. I'm not used to like plugging my podcast. I think this is the first time I've actually done a plug for my podcast on another podcast.
You should. You're awesome.
So
man.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
I do a show called Offbeat Tracks with my friend Danielle, and we're both kind of obsessed with 80s music a lot. So our thing is like songs that were hits but that you forgot about, or like exploring the careers of one-hit wonders outside of that one hit that they had. So all fun things like that. We're at offbeattrackscast.com, and we're on all of the major podcast subscription sites too. We're in iTunes, we're in Google Play, et cetera, et cetera. And we're nice and we talk. So
yeah, no, make sure you guys
tweet us and emails and whatnot.
Sweet. Well, yeah, thank you, Max. Guys, make sure to check out offbeattrackscast.com.
That's
it.
Great. And just Offbeat Tracks on all of the sites.
Offbeat Tracks on your preferred podcast
I
app.
say anywhere you get great podcasts.
That's right.
Right.
All right. Round 2, question 1. William Rast clothing brand was co-founded by what woodsy celebrity?
We're in.
Was that William Rast or Raft? Like
Rast, R-A-S-T.
I think it's this.
Oh, okay. Sure. Makes sense.
Just based on Neil's speed.
Okay. Neil's speed. And
he showed his hand.
He said woodsy celebrity, didn't he?
Yeah, so we're going with Timberlake.
Yeah.
Yeah, the company is named after him and his best friend's grandfathers as Justin Timberlake.
It is, in fact, Justin Timberlake.
That was my bad, Jeff. I shouldn't have showed my head.
You played yourself.
You played yourself. Another one.
All right, question 2. On The Simpsons, what phrase appears on the outside of the Springfield Museum building?
That's a deep dive.
Oh.
I think we got to consider Jebediah Springfield's tongue for this question.
Okay. All right, we're locked in.
You're in? I have no idea. Do you have any ideas?
No, I don't. I've seen some Simpsons episodes.
I maybe have seen like 5. How about just This Is a Museum?
That's fine.
Okay. All right, we're in with This Is a Museum.
At first, I couldn't get the word knowledge out of my head, and then I was thinking that maybe I was confusing that. I think there's another building in the Springfield canon called the Knowledgeum or something like that. So I think that's what I was thinking of. We went with a phrase that I know is part of the Springfield canon, but I think this is actually like Jebediah Springfield's motto. But we went with this may be plastered on the museum as well, but it's a noble spirit embiggens the smallest man.
Well, the correct answer is actually truth, knowledge, gift shop.
Figured it was a joke. Yeah.
Knowledgeum definitely is in the Simpsons or in Springfield, and we know that things that are fun don't end in eum.
That's right.
Question 3. Since we are recording the day after St. Patrick's Day, I thought this question was appropriate. Who is the Roman patron saint of hangovers?
There's actually a saint for hangovers?
They're saints of about a lot of things, but hangovers is one of the things they are a saint of.
We're in.
So, on this one, Neil, do you know the patron saint of like festivals and good times?
I have no idea. I mean, you might know more saints' names than I would.
Well, is it Janus? Janus in the Greek, or is it in the Roman? Is it Gemini at that point? I can't remember.
I have no idea. You pick. I don't know.
Sure. We'll go Gemini. I know it's two-faced, so which is like Matt. There's Happy Matt and Drunk Matt.
So our answer is Gemini?
Sure.
Okay. Gemini.
When talking about Roman and drunkenness, my mind goes to Bacchus right away. Bacchus.
Well, the correct answer is Saint Bibiana.
Ooh.
Not familiar with that saint.
Bibiana.
Nope.
Oh.
Start praying, Matt.
I'll offer you guys up as a sacrifice.
Is that how it works?
He'll do it too.
All right, question 4. What were the last 2 letters added to the English alphabet?
You want both letters, right, Andrew?
These 2, right?
Yes, both letters.
All right, we're locked in.
All right, you can talk it out, Jeff. I think your logic's good on one of them. I don't know about the other one. That might be just a guess.
So we're obviously thinking that these were sounds that existed, but maybe had a different symbol or different, original etymology. English is a pretty good blend of a couple different languages, including Greek, Roman, German. We can go Q and U.
Okay, Q and U.
Okay, so I threw this one mostly to Max. He came up right away and said J was the most recent letter to be added. And then we were thinking about the next one, and he wrote down a film that came out a few years ago. It's pretty good, pretty scary. It's called The Vavitch. And so we went with W as our second one, J and W.
So if you combine your 2 answers, you'd be correct, because the answer is J and U.
Okay.
All right. Question 5. Alba is the Gaelic name for what country?
I think we're locked in.
Yeah, we're locked in, unsuredly.
All right, so we're just kind of mulling over some different UK members. Northern Ireland, I wrote down. He wrote down Scotland and Wales.
I like your answer of Northern Ireland.
Okay.
I think I can co-sign that. Because I guess there would be a need for them to
have a name,
distinguish that section of.
All right, we'll go with that.
The Irish mainland. So.
I think that answer makes the most sense, seeing as how Gaelic is a pretty Irish language. We knew it wasn't actually Ireland because that's Erin, if my memory serves me correctly. But we thought maybe there was some other weird tie-ins. Wales is riddled with interesting names, so we went Wales.
All right. The correct answer was said, although not guessed. The answer was Scotland.
Oh.
All right. Question 6. Former NBA player Kevin Ollie went to Crenshaw High School in L.A., the same school as what Law & Order SVU star?
Okay, we're in.
Sure.
Okay, we're in too.
So we just went with the one we know is from Crenshaw, and we went with Ice-T.
Yeah, he handles New York's most sensitive cases. That's right, Ice-T.
Yep, the correct answer is Ice-T.
Man, it's funny that it's an Ice-T question that we end up getting in this hard round.
Yeah.
Right.
John Mulaney's bit about Ice-T honestly
good.
is probably one of the best.
A+.
I love John Mulaney. I love his stand-up. Yeah. All right, question 7. This one's a little long, so bear with me. Okay. What tobacco farmer was thrown in prison by Queen Elizabeth I for having a love affair with one of her handmaidens? Eventually, he was released and married the woman, Bessie Throckmorton. During James I's reign, he was framed for plotting against the throne and beheaded.
So they're in Cromwell. I believe he was beheaded.
Pretty sure he was beheaded.
I just feel I don't know if he was a tobacco farmer.
I feel like that was during the reign of James I too.
Okay, I mean that the name rings a bell. I remember we had a question on one of our very early episodes we recorded at your house. I think Ken asked it. It was about a painting with like a wart on it, warts and all. Cromwell.
Yeah.
That could be right. I mean, it makes sense time period wise. I don't know if he was a tobacco farmer. I thought he was more of like a political religious leader. But it's I'm not going to come up with anything
He was definitely
better.
a political.
Good job to Neal for remembering something from episode 4.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I was. Well, I had the same thought too immediately.
That's why I'm wondering if I'm just thinking of episode 4 and not. But I mean, that's the only name
I don't remember him being a religious leader. He was definitely a political opponent, but that doesn't mean that you necessarily.
He could have farmed tobacco. I mean, a lot of people farm things that when they have other jobs.
Well, I'm assuming. I think James I was early 1600s. There was a lot of farmers. So.
Yeah, let's just go with it. We're going to go with not James Cromwell. We're just going to go with Cromwell.
Ken immediately wrote down Guy Fawkes, and then we kind of rolled back on that and thought maybe he was hung.
Most of my knowledge of Guy Fawkes is from V for Vendetta, and I know in that movie he's hung.
Hanged.
Hanged. Thank you. He's hanged.
Well, it could have been both. I latched on to the clue about that he was a tobacco farmer, and Elizabeth I, so this would have been like late 1500s, I think. I don't know if this is a real person, but when I think British, someone associated with British royalty, and then tobacco, perhaps a tongue-in-cheek name, Prince Albert, we wrote down.
Oh, okay.
Well, the correct answer is tobacco farmer Sir Walter Raleigh.
Oh, Raleigh.
Oh.
All right. Question 8. In the Archie comic series, what is Jughead's full name?
Oh my God. Colleen is a huge fan of the show, and she's been watching it, but I haven't been watching it with her.
Riverdale?
Riverdale, yeah. And she says that the guy who plays like Jughead looks like me, and her friend said that, so I wanted to watch it just to see what he looks like.
So you did that, and now you know the answer, right?
Maybe
Go on.
Maybe it's Jugheadathan.
Yeah. Jugheadadiah.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to say his last name is maybe like Wilson or something. So, and I can't think of it. It's a very like.
That sounds reasonable. I think Wilson might be right, but I don't know what it is.
I don't.
Jug Reinhold.
James, Steve, Jughead Wilson. Let's just go.
Jug Reinhold.
Yeah, let's just go.
Mock trial.
My name is Jug.
Steve Wilson.
Okay, Steve Wilson.
We're going Michael Juglas.
The correct answer is Forsyth Pendleton Jones III.
So close.
Yeah.
Very close.
You were not getting there.
Nope.
On the show, they call his dad. His dad goes by the name FP because that's the first two words, and he would be the second. So Jughead would be the third.
And his dad is portrayed by Skeet Ulrich from Scream.
All right. Question 9. What scientist is credited with inventing the first rubber balloon? He used them in 1824 for his experiments with hydrogen at the Royal Institute in London.
We are locked in.
Okay.
I have no idea if that's the right era for that guy, but let's go with Niels Bohr.
I don't think Bohr was born for another 80 years. But we went Goodyear.
Okay. The correct answer is Michael Faraday.
That's the other one.
He made a cage, right?
Need to refresh my Cosmos viewing.
Question 10. Who is Sports Illustrated's first Sportsman of the Year in 1954?
All right, we're in.
So we, Ken and I are kind of in two different directions on this right now. I immediately thought boxer.
I actually did too until I thought of Lou Gehrig.
I had written down Joe Louis, but then he wrote Lou Gehrig, and yeah, I think I like Lou Gehrig better.
And that's true with the racial tensions of the time. Probably. Yeah, let's go with Lou Gehrig.
Okay.
We had thought maybe not Reggie Jackson. I thought he was too late.
Jackie Robinson.
Jackie Robinson, but I thought probably not. That it was a long time before African Americans got covers on anything, even if they were outstanding athletes. So we just went Joe DiMaggio.
All right. And the correct answer is Roger Bannister.
Ooh.
Running that sub 4 minute mile.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Roger Bannister.
He was the first, I think, to break the
sounds about right.
The 4-minute mile.
Wow, I'd never heard that name. Jeez.
Yeah. All right, after the second round, we have the Jupiter Sandworms with 65 and the Maitlands with 55. So
very close.
High-scoring game here, guys.
Yeah. Very good questions.
I didn't realize it was going to be so tough.
Well, no, you came back from the game of death and are giving it to us pretty good, so it's all right. We deserve it.
Well, I think it's like hardened you and toughened you up, so now...
Yeah.
All right. And here are 5 categories for the final round. Category 1 is going to be Eclipse. Category 2 is FU. Category 3 is Warrior Pride. Category 4 is Obligatory Sports Question. And Category 5 is Christmas.
0, 10.
All right. And the wagers are locked in. Andrew, ready with the questions?
All right. Question 1, category is Eclipse. Many cultures have myths regarding eclipses. In Norse mythology, what animal is responsible for eating the sun during an eclipse? Question 2. The category is FU. The only chemical element to have the letters FU appear consecutively, at least in American English spellings. Element number 16. Question 3. Warrior Pride. Arguably the greatest female warrior ever, Joan of Arc was executed in 1431. 460 years later, in 1891, Joan of Arc was sainted. Which pope sainted her? Question 4, obligatory sports question. The Golden State Warriors currently play in Oakland, California. But where did this team originate in 1946? Question 5, Christmas. In which work by Shakespeare does a man dressed as a woman fall in love with a woman dressed as a man at Christmas?
So we're pretty sure on the 5th one, obligatory sports.
That makes me more certain that we're right.
Just think about that, so I'll talk. Obligatory sports question, we have no idea, so we're just going to write a city. Warrior Pride, I don't know any popes' names. I'm just going to write a name. While Jeff thinks of the element here, we wrote an animal for the first one, but we're not sure. Hopefully we won't have to be more specific. And we're just waiting on Jeff with this element. Because I can't think of any. So
yeah.
Or you can't think of any. Can you? We'll just talk. They're in already. So can you just name some elements that have like an FU sound? Oh, fusion. Oh, forfium. Oh, you got it? Okay.
Question 1, the category was eclipse. Many cultures have myths regarding eclipses. In Norse mythology, what animal is responsible for eating the sun during an eclipse?
All right, and both teams have 10 points wagered on this question.
Okay, so for Jeff and I, we weren't sure. We were trying to think of animals that are consistent with Norse mythology. We couldn't really come up with a great list. Then we were thinking of animals that maybe would seem powerful enough to do this, basically. But we really couldn't come up with anything specific. So I'm not sure if you need more specificity, but we just said bird.
And likewise, let us know if you need us to be more specific. We ended up considering a couple prevalent animals in Norse mythology, but ended up pulling out and considering the tree of Yggdrasil, and went with something that might be sulking around in a tree, and went with serpent.
Okay. Well, the correct answer on that one is a wolf.
Oh, that makes sense.
That was Jeff's first guess. We didn't go with it. Yeah.
Those, eats the sun, brings out the night. That's
all those cool shirts for the wolves howling at the moon.
The 3 wolf moon. That's right.
All right. Question 2, the category is FU. The only chemical element to have the letters FU appear consecutively, at least in American English spellings. Element number 16.
All right, the Maitlands with 10 points on this, and Jupiter with a Golden State 5.
Ooh. This one popped in pretty quickly. Just one of those things. I think it's sulfur.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm disappointed we didn't wager more. So FU to this question, we went sulfur.
Yep, and the correct answer is sulfur. Question 3, the category was Warrior Pride. Arguably the greatest female warrior ever, Joan of Arc was executed in 1431. 460 years later, in 1891, Joan of Arc was sainted. Which pope sainted her?
Both teams with a big goose egg on this one.
Jeff was trying to think of the element, so I just wrote down John.
I think. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Well, we locked it in. So.
JP 1.
All right. The correct answer is Benedict the 15th.
I was gonna say Urban 16. I knew it was a high number. I couldn't remember. Yeah, Benedict the 15th.
Question 4 is obligatory sports question. The Golden State Warriors currently play in Oakland, California. But where did this team originate in 1946?
Believe it or not, both teams betting 0 on this one.
So in giving it more consideration, maybe San Francisco, but we said Eureka.
And we know Matt's probably going to tell us the right answer, but while Jeff was also thinking of the element, I just wrote down Detroit.
Ken actually snuck in a kind of right answer because they did move to San Francisco at one point, but that was from Philadelphia.
Yep, it is Philadelphia. And question 5, the category was Christmas. In which work by Shakespeare does a man dressed as a woman fall in love with a woman dressed as a man at Christmas?
I believe this is for all the marbles.
0 for Jupiter and 10 for Maitland's.
I hope I'm right. We were considering 12th Night due to the tie to Christmas and the fact that it's a comedy, but ultimately I felt like I remember this play being done in high school, and I think the love element and the cross-dressing element were in As You Like It.
We went with 12th Night.
Well, the correct answer is 12th Night.
Am I wrong about that, Neil?
No, there is a cross-dress. They just don't fall in love with each other As You Like It.
Okay.
Yeah, someone does dress up like a woman.
Yeah, She's the Man, the Amanda Bynes classic,
Yeah.
is based off 12th Night.
Yeah, with Channing Tatum.
Some say it's better.
Could be. You got Channing Tatum, yeah, and Amanda Bynes.
You had it. I'm sorry for
hey, buddy.
dissuading you.
That's the way it goes. It's okay.
Did you say it, Max?
I did.
Did it? Oh, yeah. Yeah, the only way I remember that being a Christmas play is because of the 12th night, because of Christmas. That's all. What a high-scoring game here while Matt tabulates these high scores.
Yeah. I'm going to add them all up one by one, and it won't actually take me that long. So we have a final score today. Maitland's coming in with a number, 45.
It's a number.
It is a number. But today, but Jupiter Sandworms with 60 are today's cream of the crop.
I am the cream.
Hesitate to call that a cream of the crop.
No, that's more like an expired creamer,
like cream of wheat that's been sitting in the bowl for a
in
little bit.
In the office refrigerator.
Yeah, it's like you really want some cream cheese, but you just have to do it, even though it's going to taste terrible.
Yeah, the apple with the least number of bruises that's left of the 5 of them in the bin at the grocery store. Yes,
You're today's sour cream of the crop.
Well, I think
I say that knowing full well that we're the most bruised one.
I think I can speak for everyone here and say that today's cream of the crop is actually Andrew with those questions.
Well, it's kind of hard to gauge how hard and easy it's going to be. So,
hey, no, I mean this show is about we play the game, but it's for the listeners, and I think that this is going to be a great game for the listeners as well. Depending, more academic or less academic specialties.
I think we came out of this with a lot more respect for your students, so
that's right.
So good on them.
Yeah, your students are the cream of the crop, really. So yeah, thank you, Andrew, for joining us. Let's throw it over to Max one more time to give Offbeat Tracks a little extra plug.
Yeah, check us out if you love pop music or just want to remember songs you haven't thought about in 20, 25, 30 years. OffbeatTracksCast.com and Offbeat Tracks on every major podcast aggregator.
Sweet.
And thanks for having me, guys. This has been awesome.
Yeah, no,
Thanks for being on.
Yeah, so Max actually was in town from Louisville, so he actually drove all the way up here just for this episode.
That's right.
So yeah, thank you for making the trip and hanging out and having some donuts, and it's a pleasure having you here. So thank you.
Yeah, and thanks to our guests for hosting and being in the studio to join me on the team, the Maitlands, and that was Triviality.
Ice-T is a detective with the Special Victims Unit. He handles New York's most sensitive cases. I love Ice-T on SVU. He is fantastic. He's awesome. What's so great about him is that he's been with the SVU for 11 years now. But he still treats every case like it's his first in terms of total confusion.